This movie gets so much hate, but honestly, I kind of enjoy it. Let's do it. I Know Who Killed Me opens up with this burlesque dancer on stage doing her thing, and we see that her hand starts bleeding. Then cut, and we meet seemingly the same girl from the opening, Aubrey Fleming, who is a high school student. She's a pianist, she's a writer. She has really great parents. She has this boyfriend named Jared. Everything is going great for Aubrey. That is until the body of Aubrey's friend Jennifer shows up mutilated, and that leads people to suspect that there is a serial killer at large in their town. And Aubrey becomes the next victim of that serial killer, and she is abducted after a night out with her friends. The serial killer tortures her with dry ice, he cuts off her fingers, he's a sadistic fuck. So the police and the FBI get involved because they know they don't have much time if they want to find Aubrey alive. Couple nights later, a woman is driving down the street when she sees somebody on the side of the road, and sure enough, it's Aubrey. So Aubrey wakes up in the hospital to find that one of her legs and one of her hands is missing. The sick fuck cut him off. But when Aubrey's parents, who are relieved that their daughter is alive, show up, Aubrey doesn't recognize them. She tells everybody she has no idea who this Aubrey person is and that her name is Dakota Moss. As they're trying to remind her of who she is, she's like, I don't have this cushy life that Aubrey has. I'm a stripper. So this is the person we saw in the beginning. So everybody involved becomes absolutely convinced that Aubrey is just having a PTSD reaction and she just has amnesia and doesn't know who she is. They tell her parents to take her home and just continue life as normal to help her remember, but she still insists that she is not Aubrey, she is Dakota. The FBI is still trying to find out who did this to her because she has no memory of it, so they take her laptop. And on Aubrey's laptop, they find this story that she wrote about an identical twin sister named Dakota Moss. On top of that, they took this girl's DNA and the match comes back saying that this is Aubrey. So again, they're absolutely convinced that she's just lying to them and that she's Aubrey. But Dakota still insists that she is not Aubrey, and she starts to have these strange memories coming back to her. She remembers dancing in the club one night and her hand randomly started bleeding. It's the scene we see from the beginning. And when she takes her glove off, one of her fingers falls off, like it was severed somehow. Dakota starts to do research on wounds showing up randomly with no explanation. She finds information about how this can happen between twins, and one twin gets an injury and it'll show up on the second twin in like a stigmata type fashion. So Dakota tells Aubrey's mom, I think I'm Aubrey's twin, but her mom shows her footage of an ultrasound that shows that there was only one baby in there, so that is not possible. But then Dakota confronts Aubrey's dad, who tells a different story. He admits that when his wife gave birth, their child died because of complications. And rather than telling his wife that this happened, he went to a nearby room where another woman who was a drug addict gave birth to twins, and he bought one of them off of her. So sure enough, Aubrey and Dakota are indeed twins, and Dakota has been telling the truth. So Dakota starts to have these like psychic visions of this serial killer torturing Aubrey, so that leads her to believe that Aubrey is still alive and she has to find her. One of those visions leads Dakota to a cemetery where she goes to the grave of that girl Jennifer, who was the first victim, and she finds this blue ribbon. The ribbon is from a piano competition, and it has a message on the back from Jennifer's piano teacher, who is also Aubrey's piano teacher, Douglas. It's at this point that Dakota realizes that the piano teacher is the fucking killer. So Aubrey's dad follows Dakota, and the two of them decide to go to the piano teacher's house without telling the police for some reason. The dad goes into the house first, and after he doesn't come out for a little while, Dakota follows him in and finds him unconscious, having been attacked. The teacher then finds Dakota, and a fight ensues between the two of them, and she manages to cut off his hand, but ultimately he overpowers her and ties her up. He is incredibly confused, and he looks at Dakota and is like, how are you here? I already buried you. And earlier, Dakota had had a vision of Aubrey being buried. Ultimately, Dakota is able to free herself and another fight ensues, but she is the one that is able to kill Douglas this time. She then goes into the woods and is led by her visions, I guess, to find where he buried Aubrey, and she is able to dig her up and find that she is still alive. Dakota lays down relieved next to her long-lost sister who is still barely alive, and the movie ends.